Hi, I'm Joe Davidson with the Sacramento Bee. Welcome every week to The Buzz. We're going to bring you the best of high school sports, big on football. We're going to tell you about the teams, the coaches, the players, the communities, the campuses. High school sports isn't just an event. It's a happening. It's a social thing.
Welcome, everybody. I still get bothered by that. Every week I see that intro and I puff up my chest and it's like they cut me off. I don't get it. But that was shot by Javier Mascarenas of the Sacramento Bee before the first game way back in mid-August, if you could believe that. We had a little bit of smoky skies. Now we've got foggy skies with the Sac-Joaquin Section football playoffs. Charging into this weekend's semifinals. We're going to have a roundtable discussion with Cameron Salerno and Jim Patrick. And me as we break down all the brackets and what to expect. And we might even predict games and scores and maybe even suggest shaving heads of certain young people on our staff. We'll explain that a little bit later. I have a text that binds a certain Cameron Salerno to a football wager of sorts. So we're holding on to that binding thing and we're gonna commit him to it. So we are here in the section semifinals. We are hoping for good weather. We don't have any rain. We don't know about fog. I've never seen football in fog before until last week, and that was everywhere. Jim Patrick, our great sports editor, loves talking about fog. He wants those kind of headlines. He wants the hashtag fog, and no, he doesn't. And we'll get him on here to grump about that in a minute. But every week on The Buzz, we like to have a talking point. Something that kind of gets under our skin, whether it's 106-0 score from Southern California, how people defend it. Well, this week we worked on a story with our staff, Ryan Sabalo and Dale Casler at the Sacramento Bee, on the UC Davis baseball hazing scandal. And the college finally put out a report, some pretty ugly, disturbing things in there. And my whole point here is, why haze? When is this cool? How long has this been an issue? At UC Davis, it's been an issue for several years. In high school sports, Napa high school football nearly folded the program some 5 years ago because of hazing. And my thinking is, if you want to haze, you're going to lose your job or you're going to get expelled. It happened at Placer High School basketball a couple of years ago on the freshman team, and the varsity coach, Mark Lee, one of the good guys in the business, was reprimanded for a, quote, failure to supervise, missed most of the season, had nothing to do with it. So that's the kind of trickle-down domino effect that hazing has. And I'm kind of boggled at, what's the big deal about hazing? These are your teammates, your brothers. You hear everybody say that in every roster. These are my brothers. This is my family. These are my teammates and all that. So if you haze, then you're missing the whole point. So check that story out. Some of the disturbing details that led to the termination or the resignation, if you will, of Matt Vaughn, the longtime coach. He was going to get canned anyways. So the interim staff, the rest of the coaches are going to serve on an interim basis. So there we go. Hazing's not cool. I don't get it. We get brushed back. People say, hey, you got to toughen up. It's for tough people. Well, I think that's where fights start. And I think that's where morale crumbles. And something went wrong and people got involved to put a stop to it. So anyways, I feel better. All right. Here's a fun photo from our friends at the Davis Enterprise. We're heavy on football here, but we certainly appreciate the efforts of others in water polo sports or watery sports such as water polo. This is Doug Wright getting thrown into the pool. So when you win a section championship in water polo, you're going to take a drink, as in a big bath this way. Great water polo program over there for a lot of years for the Davis Blue Devils. Give it a read on the Davis Enterprise. I thought it was a great photo. That was a lot of fun. And so how about that? So the playoffs are also about, especially in the football playoffs, we're big on that, about big-time great plays and good players, even in defeat. Here's a great one of Aiden Perry of Del Oro taking on Jesuit in the Sac-Joaquin Section Division I game at Jesuit over the weekend. Videos courtesy of Kevin John, our friend at ABC 10. And if we have that, I'm waiting for David to... How about that? That's Aiden Perry's the son of longtime assistant coach Josh Perry, played in the NFL, fiery, intense. Josh was a defender, his son's a receiver. I hope this kid lands somewhere in college. I think you keep making plays, you'll do that. But Jesuit had too many answers. We're going to break down Jesuit in a little bit here and why Jesuit could actually win this playoff game against Folsom on Saturday, and Cameron Salerno will argue against me on that, but we'll get him there in a minute. Here's another one. Speaking of great video, we got this sent to us as well, and this is the Lincoln Zebras and Jordan Wagner. So take a look amid the fog and take a listen to all the excitement and chaos. How good is that? Go down. And then, oh my God. So there's Jordan Wagner, one of the terrific football players this season in all of the Sac-Joaquin section. That was a Division III playoff win over Christian Brothers. It was the winning touchdown. We'll talk to Jim Patrick here in a moment about that. And I think Jim was out of position. He usually is always out of position. He was on the other side and the more foggy side. So speaking of the Lincoln Zebras, we like to show some of our videographer great stuff. And here's Sarah Neves. She was in Placer County for some of that game. And here's a school that's involved. The school's been around since about the time the earth cooled, 1907 or so. Everybody likes there's Jordan Wagner with the flag running onto the field. When you're that good of a player, you do that. And here comes the Christian Brothers. And this was a good test because Christian Brothers has speed and athletes. And it was a fog or otherwise, it was going to be a good game. And then the thing that's neat about Lincoln is the Zebras, besides the mascot, are in a semifinal for the first time ever. They snapped like a 9-game playoff losing streak, has had some good teams over the years, but not a great one. This is a great one. Jordan Wagner, John Bowser at quarterback, Gabriel Burns at running back, Ryan Henning at running back. A lot of these kids grew up together. It's a true hometown feel. We'll talk to Jim Patrick about it in a minute. There's a new school that is open, 12 Bridges just down the road. Will that divide the campus? Coach Alan Berg talked about some of that. And sometimes that happens when you open a new school in Yuba City or Woodland or Galt, and it thins out the talent pool, if you will. I can't get over this fog. It looks like, a barbecue went bad or somebody's 1978 Chevy Vegas idling in the opposite end zones. And just an amazing job by Sarah Neves and Javier Mascarenas also was out shooting in game. Could you imagine trying to capture this game with so much fog? And we just mentioned Javier. We were in Solano County, and here's some video stills. And this is after the game. That's Ethan Archuleta. And it's not too foggy when you win. And so Elk Grove won this game 52-48. Some of these guys were running into the end zone, into the foggy. You weren't even sure if they made it into the end zone. And here he is. Ethan Archuleta he's the quarterback, high stepping into the end zone. So this is a Division II win, which puts him into Friday's game against Monterey Trail, run versus one. There's Zeke Burnett, number 13. He's going to Sacramento State. There's Simi Polly on the left. As you could see, this is Ryan Vaughn or Timothy Plowman. I can't see with the jersey number of. There's Ryan Vaughn. And it got foggier and foggier. Tough way to lose a game. I thought the Vacaville Bulldogs handled it really well, thanks to their great coach, Mike Papadopoulos. And hey, we're here. We had COVID a year ago. It's okay. If this is the worst day of your life, then you're going to have a pretty charmed life. So coaches like that get it. We understand that teams don't want to lose. They're all thinking section championship and state championship, and then the losses come across as pretty heavy. So, pretty neat. But let's take another peek at a nice little image here of Granite Bay. How about this? The Granite Bay Grizzlies win the CIF State Girls Golf Championship at Poppy Hills. They shot a 371. That's Jason Siderode on the right. He is the longstanding boys basketball coach, is still in that role. He's especially enjoying this role. He could golf and mentor terrific golfers, and they win a state championship. So thanks for Coach Siderode for sending us that. But that's a school of champions, has done a lot of good things. I think Cameron and I were talking about this the other night. 2013 or so, Granite Bay volleyball went 36-0. So they've won state championship in football, cross country, all kinds of different sports. So, all right, enough of me talking by myself. It's never easy. Let's bring in Cameron Salerno and Jim Patrick for our roundtable. There he is. Jim Patrick, 20 minutes ago, was opening packages. And Cameron with his cat. What's the name of the cat?
Buttons.
How old is Buds?
He is 9 years old. He was our neighbor's cat, and now he's our cat.
I'll bet.
And you said Buttons, right?
Buttons.
Yeah.
Buttons.
Yeah, we did a show a few weeks ago, and your cat was up there in his tree and behind you. So, right on. So, hey, Jim, we're gonna get this going right now. Let's get the division. Well, actually, let's not put the graphic up. let's just admire Cameron's nice hair because it's coming off next week on this show. Cameron sent me a text, and let's put this on the record. I know I've got the same. I love it.
Do you have a screenshot of the text, Joe? Can we?
And I do. And he said, if Jesuit beats Folsom, I'll shave my head live on the buzz. So I got it printed out, notarized, which is pretty authentic. And I even use my thumb as your thumbprint. So Cameron said he'd shave. Then he went and visited his girlfriend, Nikki, who's a volleyball player up at University of Idaho. And somehow she's trying to change his mind. Well, back me up, Jim. I think we both overrule Nikki on this case. This is a binding contract.
I'm so torn on this because I feel like HR would yell at me if I lock in.
If you put it on,
I mean, I
think
our viewers and our fans and our subscribers would all severely question everything going forward that Cam says and does if he doesn't shave his hair, but we can't force him to shave his hair, Joe.
Well, this is what I was gonna do is. I think Jesuit's going to win. So I'm going to bring my clippers. I got some clippers, and then I'll go to his house. We'll turn the fan off. We'll pet the cat, and then we're going to put one swath right down the middle, and then he could take it from there.
Be like the Grinch who stole Christmas.
That's exactly. Hey, let's throw the Division I bracket up. Cameron, we're going to just jump right into it. I think I wrote about it in the Sacramento Bee this week. Jesuit is going to win this game, I believe, because of the rolling momentum, great pass rush, great interior offensive line play, playmakers like Garrett McGriff, terrific depth at quarterback, a coach who's got this team rolling in Marlon Blanton. Cameron, why do you disagree with me?
Folsom's Folsom, and Folsom has historically dominated this rivalry. I think they've won 12 of the last 13 games. And Folsom is starting to find its mojo again. They have Tower Tremaine back at quarterback, who missed the last few games of the regular season. I think it showed how valuable he was as a quarterback for Folsom because it's hard to replace that position. I just think it's going to be Folsom who wins. It just really depends on how much they're going to win by. Is it going to be a close game? Is it going to be a blowout like week one? I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think Jesuit has a chance. Anybody has a chance, but I disagree with you, Joe. I think
no close game.
Let me jump in
because Jesuit just dominates at home. Jim Patrick, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, there was a question from a reader, Joe, and I'm going to throw this to you. Mark Reichel asked on Facebook, "How does Jesuit beat Folsom?" And I think what you're saying is execution, right? That Jesuit has to execute at a really high level.
Yeah, but and you touched on this in our roundtable that ran online and in print last week, and you said, I think you said something along the lines that Jesuit is rolling, and then Folsom has lost 3 or 4 coming into the playoffs. But what about Tyler Tremaine? No doubt a great player, but he doesn't play defense. And Paul Doherty, the Folsom coach, said after the game the other night, he goes, "We've lost some of our confidence. These kids aren't used to this," and so that's going to be interesting to see how they turn around. So yes, I think execution on line play, and I just see if it's going to happen, it's going to happen here. And the story we wrote about this week is teams have closed the gaps on some of our regional heavyweights, including Grant in the 90s and 2000. How's anybody going to be Grant? Close the gap. Folsom in 2018, there was this big push by the Sierra Foothill League. Let's get Folsom out. They're boat racing everybody. Let's get them out. That didn't happen. You can't just plead for it to happen. And so what happens? The area teams close the gap on Folsom. Rockland won and Granite Bay won. So this is if it's going to happen here for Folsom, it's going to happen in this game.
Joe, let me turn.
Who do you like, Jim? Do you like Folsom or Jesuit in this one?
Hang on, let's hear Cam's question.
Joe, I'll turn the question back on you.
Yes.
If this game was at Folsom on Friday night, who are you picking?
I would pick Folsom easily. There's just something goofy of just how people approach games at Jesuit. The field is not the best field. You have to have specialized cleats to play out there, more of soccer cleats. That's fine, but it's just unusual how when Indicum went out there and lost 45-0, and Elk Grove was loaded and gave up 70. I think 5 of them were defensive touchdowns, and same with Del Oro. So teams don't feel comfortable there. They don't move very well on that field. All kinds of pick sixes happen, fumble recoveries, and Jesuit just snowballs. And some of those recent games, the blowout games, the 56-14 type of things, have been at Folsom. Now it's finally lined up where it's here. Folsom did win the opener. How come it's at Jesuit? Because of the head-to-head, with notwithstanding. Well, because Jesuit came in rolling into the playoffs and Folsom did not. So I think it's seeded correctly.
I don't think there's been a game at Jesuit, at least with the new era of the turf field, in quite some time, because the games have been at Folsom, like you mentioned. I think it was there in 2017, 2018, and then in 2019, the last full high school football season was at Sacramento State, and that was a neutral location. So I don't think there has been a game at Jesuit between these two teams in quite some time.
And I think there's a reason for that, because one time it was bloody hot in a season opener, and so it made sense to switch it over to Folsom and then smoke games and those kind of things. So
guys, I would just want to point out, and I think it's indicative of what we're thinking, but we haven't even mentioned Rockland. And I would imagine that indicates how we're feeling about this, which is Rockland's going to win, and there's not much to say there. Is that fair?
Well, yes. I think Rockland wins. Cameron's going to cover that game. Rockland, why would Rockland win? Same great fundamental things. Terrific defense. Role players like Rio Patton, and star players like Elias Mulliken, and backups like Joey Roberts at quarterback. Bobby Pylan, just a dominating presence on both sides of the field in the trenches. St. Mary's is terrific. Out of Stockton, won 9 games in a row, lost opener to De La Salle, no slouch, of course, then lost to Central Catholic, the number 1 seed in Division II. And St. Mary's may score a few touchdowns, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. And Rockland's just rolling. And Cameron, you've seen Rockland, and they just Jim, you've seen Rockland. This is a team I just don't see them losing anytime soon, and certainly not here.
I agree with that. I mean, I think the matchup I'm really excited to see is Elias Mulliken, who plays defensive back for Rockland, against Jaden Marshall of St. Mary's, who's committed to UCLA and is one of the best sprinters and track athletes on the West Coast. And so I think that's a really interesting matchup in itself. But like Joe said, I think Rockland has too much firepower and their defense is too strong, and I just don't think it's going to be close. I mean, maybe St. Mary's wins the game, but I mean, I just don't think Rockland's going to have a close game till the section final, and it doesn't matter if they play Jesuit or Folsom. I think it's going to be a close game then.
Let me real quick get my pick in. I'm going to pick Folsom, but I feel like 60% confident in that. I really it's more of a coin toss than I'm comfortable with, and I think I've been a little jumpy looking to call like the end of the Folsom era or something like that, and I don't think we're there yet. So
no,
I'm gonna ride.
No, I hear you, Jim, and it's certainly Tyler Tremaine looked a little rusty at 3 interceptions. He's the first one to pin it on himself. He's
last week.
Really tough, courageous player. And if he gets into the groove and they could pass protect for him, he may have a big day. And Rockland or Jesuit still has to deal with Rico Flores and Walker Lyons, who are amazing people. And here's the thing that really stinks about high school sports. If Jesuit loses, then the alum and people in the Jesuit community will reach out again. We got to get a new coach. Well, no, you already got a great coach at Marlon Blanton. This isn't a Marlon Blanton issue against Folsom. Folsom's been a problem for everybody.
Right. And let's roll into D2. We otherwise, because at this pace, we're going to wrap up around 1:00. And
I'm just getting warmed up.
Yeah, I know. See, that's the thing, Joe. Like, you're so fired up that I got to keep things moving here.
I agree. So we got 10-0 Antelope taking on Central Catholic, which only has 1 loss this season, to Bellarmine Prep of the Bay Area. Monterey Trail is rolling right along, just came off a big win against Granite Bay. Elk Grove, we just talked about Elk Grove. So that game, the second game, Monterey Trail, Elk Grove, a lot of run ability there. So let's just jump right into it. I think the higher seeds both win these games. I think Antelope has to get Karan Borders on track. He only had about 60, 70 yards the other day, but barely won. He was big reason in that with a trick play. And I can see Elk Grove winning too, just maybe too many running backs for a Monterey Trail team that has plenty of running backs.
Yeah, your game is super interesting, Joe. I think that I agree with your picks. I'd pick Central Catholic, and I'm picking Elk Grove. I think that Monterey Trail team is a huge X factor. I don't know much about them. We've covered a few of their games, and I still think it's a great power-on-power matchup there in that Monterey Trail Elk Grove game. It's you picked the best game of the week to cover, Joe.
I love it. And Cameron Salerno, what's your thoughts?
So I'm picking Antelope in an upset because I got some heat for picking against them last week. And my golden rule is if I pick against a team and they prove me wrong, I'll pick them the next week. And if they prove me wrong again, then I'll pick them the rest of the way. I like Antelope Elk Grove. I think that'd be a really good game. It just intense battle, offensive linemen. Great running backs in Karan Borders and Zeke Burnett. I just think that might be the game. I think Central Catholic is going to have a tough task facing Antelope.
No, and Central Catholic just came off a tight win over Lodi, the Lodi Flames, speaking of great mascots. All right, let's take a quick peek at Division 3. We have Patterson at top-ranked or top-seeded Oakdale, number 3 Manteca Buffaloes at the number 2 Lincoln Zebras. I'm going to go with Oakdale. Trent Merzon's done a great job. Longtime coach there, has won a lot of championships. Manteca was certainly impressive in taking apart Sac High, but maybe even more impressive was Lincoln with its defense. So I'm going to go with the Zebras taking on the Oakdale Mustangs. That's a terrific final.
I'm going to go with the same. Oh, go ahead, Jim.
No, go for it. You're going the same.
So I'm going to go Oakdale Lincoln. And here's a little backstory. I kind of mentioned in our roundtable and I teased it, but I'll give you the backstory. So I've heard from a Lincoln parent that our score prediction from the Lincoln-Whitney game earlier this season, where we picked Whitney to beat Lincoln, is in their locker room, and they use it as bulletin board material. And so it's hard to pick against Lincoln the rest of the way, just for that reason alone. So I'm going to go with Lincoln. I think their defense played phenomenal. Jordan Wagner was my large school player to watch, and he obviously had a huge interception last week. So I'm going to ride with the Zebras all the way.
All right, so pick apart my logic here, Cam or Joe, that to me, it looks like Lincoln, Christian Brothers, and Sacramento are all kind of at about the same talent level. There's a lot of they all played each other. There's close scores, and Manteca just destroyed Sacramento last week. I want to say 56-14, something like that. So if those three teams are all around an equal point, and Manteca just walked over one of them, then I think Manteca wins again this week. And there's your bulletin board material, Lincoln. I take no joy in providing it. It's just
that's baloney. You want to stick it to the Zebras. You were just there. You were the guest of honor. In fact, didn't you address the team after the game?
No, there was somebody else who did that.
Jim, you're going to end up on one of the highlight tapes where they say, like, yeah, I don't think Lincoln can win. And then they, like, play some music. And then they show, like, some big hit and some touchdown and shows the final score of the game.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Let's run that video again of Jordan Wagner running that interception back. And let's have it without the sound. And Jim, Patrick, if you could tell us what you were thinking and what you saw and how unusual it was to cover a game. And
let me just set it up real quick before we run that video. Minute and a half left in the game. Christian Brothers is moving the ball. I want to say it's 3rd and 9 down around the 40-yard line, the 39-yard line of Lincoln. So it was, and they got a great kicker. So it was looking like, if Christian Brothers can just get a first down, they're off and running. And instead we got a beautiful pass interception and a beautiful run back here from Lincoln.
And so Jim, where were you on this field?
Far, you can't even see it. I was directly across the field from that reception because I like to follow the plays down the field. Look at that. He's in a pack of like 6 guys, 7 guys.
Did you see him doing this, or was it just guesswork?
Total guesswork. What we saw was a pack of white Christian Brothers jerseys. Like basically, we saw Jordan, the kid from Lincoln, run into this pack of white jerseys, and the crowd on the opposite sideline got quiet because I can't see anything. All I can do is listen, and it sounds like they're going to take this guy out at the 30-yard line. And instead, you can see it here in the video. Jordan comes over to the sideline. He dekes one dude. He dekes the second dude. Here's the first one. Dekes this guy. Soink.
Doink. Good job. And people are yelling on his sideline. Go down. Go down.
Gone.
Yeah. And then away he goes. Jordan Wagner, we've all talked about him. He's in the running for Defensive Player of the Year because of plays like that. So kudos to him. All right, let's take a quick peek at Division 4, the Sac-Joaquin Section football semifinals. Number 4 Merced Bears at top-seeded Kimball. That's a relatively new school in Tracy. Vista del Lago at number 2, Vanden. I'm going to go with Vanden. Trey Dimes is an unsung quarterback doing some good work down there. Vanden's been a long-time powerhouse. Vista del Lago certainly got a great quarterback in Jacob Hollingshouse and a good running back and a good receiver. So I could see that upset happening, but I'm going to go with the home team there. It's probably going to be super foggy there. And I'm going to go with Kimball, which has been prolific quarterback play. So I'm going to go with those 2 teams right there. Cameron Salerno, I know where you're going here.
I'm going to go with Vista del Lago, Kimball, and kind of like I mentioned earlier, I picked Placer to beat Vista del Lago, so got to go with the same logic. I caught some heat for it. I joked with my girlfriend because she went to Vista del Lago that the Vista Athletic page posted my score prediction on their Instagram page saying I was wrong, so I got to go with the Eagles this time.
Well,
I think
you're wrong regularly, and you just need to stop piling on certain teams. It's just an outrage. Anyways.
Yeah, I know.
Jim Patrick, who do you like?
Oh, me and my Vista del Lago bias. I love VDL. So I'm picking Vista and I'm picking Kimball.
There we go. There we go. Short and sweet. All right, Division 5. We have the top-seeded Escalon Cougars, 9-time section champion, still looking strong. Casa Roble, one of the teams that we've seen quite a bit this year. The Rams are taking on Hilmar, the Yellow Jackets. Casa Roble's got Jason Lindahl, an excellent quarterback. Josh Taylor, a strong running back. Looks like Calvin Owens, or receiver Owens, Cyborg, according to Coach Chris Horner, may be back. He's had 2 fractured toes, which just sounds painful saying that. So I'm going to go with Escalon at home and Casa Roble on the road. Casa just came off a big win at second-seeded Union Mine, so they're not afraid of piling into the buses and going for road trips.
Cam, what are you doing?
I'm going to go with the same. I mean, I picked Casa to actually beat Union Mine last week, just for the record. I went on a Twitter Spaces, and I got some questions from, I think, a Union Mine parent asking me why I picked that prediction. I backed it up. I went double down. I said Casa, I think, is going to beat Union Mine. I think they have a great offense. Saw them early in the year. Thought they could be a section title contender. And if they get Cole Owens back this week, I mean, it'd be a huge factor. I mean, he's one of the best receivers in the area, regardless of grade or school size. I mean, he's a great player, and having him back would be a huge boost for that Casa offense.
And Joe, you said Escalon's a deadlock, basically, or the best team, the best number 1 seed chance of winning it all. Is that right?
That's what I felt. That or Rockland, but Escalon's just such a proven team, strong league, so I could see that continuing here.
Yeah, I mean, so I got to go with Escalon, and I hear Hilmar has got a long tradition of in this section of making some noise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't feel strongly about that game. I'm going to pick Hilmar just because you guys picked Casa. Got to balance it out.
Trouble. I mean, this is what
I got to balance it out.
Yeah,
Somebody's got to be that guy.
Exactly. Somebody's got to be trouble. All right, let's take a look at the Division 6 and Division 7 together. The small school powers here. Top seeded Bradshaw Christian. Actually, that's backwards. So it's number 5 Rosemont is visiting Bradshaw Christian. And that's a Sierra Valley Conference rematch from just about a month ago. Bradshaw Christian won that game, and I think Bradshaw will do it again because they're just a terrific running team, great mascot, the Pride. Number 3 Livingston at number 2 Argonaut, another game on grass. We'd like to see that, so I'm going to go with Argonaut in that game. Division 7, Jim Patrick's game, Esparto. The Spartans taking on top-seeded Woodland Christian. Woodland Christian's never been to a section final, hasn't won it. I think this is their time for Woodland Christian, and I'm going to go with host LeGrand over Mariposa County. And full disclosure, I don't know a lot about either one of those teams.
Can I just say welcome to my world to the readers based on that Bradshaw Christian thing? Because I've been fixing that in Joe's copy all week. I should have sent an email, Joe. I should have.
Oh, is it at Rosemont?
No, it's Rosemont at Bradshaw Christian, but you've been writing it the other way all week, and I've been fixing it all week. I just haven't said anything. So
this is the only mistake I've made all week, except for these picks just now.
No, that's it's unusual for you. It's been a busy week. That's all.
Well, Jim, while you have the floor, who do you like and why? And you have to pick Woodland Christian because otherwise they won't let you in to their venue. I think.
And I saw Woodland Christian play earlier this year. I do think they're a very good team. I think, especially for Division 7 standards, they're just well coached. They execute. They stay in their lanes on defense, on special teams. I think Woodland Christian's got a tricky little ground game. They run the veer. And they do a great job doing it. I think it's probably Woodland Christians to lose. But I said last week I picked Delta over Esparto, and I'm a little concerned that they are gonna throw some things at me. The Spartans from Esparto. So I'm lightly picking Woodland Christian,
and they might be thring vegetables and helmets at you.
I get that. I get that a lot. I'm not really sure
yes.
why. Probably because I'm always antagonizing people with my picks. I don't know. I'll take LeGrand in Division 7, and then back to Division 6. You got to go with Bradshaw Christian. And I don't know enough about Livingston Argonaut to make a knowledgeable choice. So Argonaut's got a cooler name. I'm going to pick them.
There you go. Cameron, get your cat involved here. What's Buttons say?
Buttons is going to go with Bradshaw Christian, Argonaut, Woodland Christian, and LeGrand. And for that reason, I know Jim's upset because his team Delta lost. I know he had to turn his gear the other day, which is a sad sight. Maybe one of these teams could use Buttons. He's pretty fast. He can probably make a difference and make some tackles along the way too.
I think Buttons has got some Jordan Wagner to him.
I think Buttons is fast. He's fast.
Yeah.
He may be a little chunky, but he can move.
Kind of like me.
There you go. Oh, hey, so with that, everybody study Cameron's nice hair because it's coming off. He says that if Jesuit wins, he will ponder head shaving. So we appreciate everybody. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll talk to you guys very soon. And to our
Did we lose everybody? It's just me.
yeah.
It's my show.
It is.
It's my show.
There it is. So we thank everybody. Check us out every day on sacb.com. We have basketball stuff this week as well. Cameron just did a preview on girls basketball. I did one on boys basketball. So if you like what we've done in football, we're going to ramp it up just the same with basketball, boys and girls. We're going to keep this show going. If you joined us late here, the show is linked for viewing anytime you want. We appreciate everybody. We appreciate the following, and we will see you out there in a high school game really soon.